Alright guys, hey, this is Ted with the SCD Raceway. Yes, I've changed my channel. It is going to be SCD Raceway going forward, at least for the next 2 weeks, because I started messing with my channel, and once you change your name a couple times, all of a sudden, you gotta wait 2 weeks. This video is taking me about 6 weeks, or this part 3 is taking me about 6 weeks, because we've been so busy around here. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. It's going to be SCD Raceway going forward at this point. I got thumbnails to change, and I got a few things to change on my channel. Anyway, here's the video. Finally done with it. You guys enjoy it. See what you think. I know my garage is a mess. That's what happens when you get going on projects and you got a busy life. But anyway, enjoy the video. What's going on, fellas and ladies, if you're watching? If you made it this far through this series, you've already watched part 1 and part 2. This is part 3, body and paint on this old dinosaur. The paint scheme I'm gonna follow is it's a J19 series J car. The Eldon body that I'm using, of course, it's 55 years old. I mean, like 1968, somewhere around there. It doesn't have the details that the original Ford J19 would have had, but it's got enough detail that I'm going to follow this paint scheme, and it's the #1 car. I got wheel inserts. They were gold on this original J19. Anyway, we got to give this old dinosaur a bath. All right, fellas and ladies. What we're doing here, we're scrubbing her down best we can. I mean, this is Dawn soap and warm water. You don't need no harsh chemicals, nothing like that. You don't want to damage this plastic in any way, and you don't want to leave a film on anything. Works for saving ducks and birds that get caught in oil spills. It should work for this. Alright guys, always wear gloves when you handle your paint project. What I got here is a little bit of Tamiya putty, and it's white, so you probably won't see this very good, but you just get a little bit. It's kind of like doing Bondo, but here's the deal. I got a spot here and a spot here, which are the original molds on these body posts. They actually came through the top of the body, but we're just going to throw a little bit. You don't need a lot. You're just putting enough on there. You're just putting enough on there to... That's a little too much. It's alright. This stuff will sand off, no problem, but the less you put on, the less sanding you'll have to do. Alright guys, so did that little bit of body work I was talking about. I don't know if you can see this. Right there and right there. Took out those indentations from the body posts, sanded them down. Now we're going to throw a coat of primer on it. Alright fellas, we've got ourselves a coat of primer. Going to put the last coat of primer on now. I'm using the Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover primer. It's a white primer, of course, because I'm painting this car white with some midnight blue areas also. Anyway, let's get this final coat on here. Hope you can see that all right. Yep, that looks good. We definitely want to keep this dust out at any cost. And that should do the trick. While that body's drying, we'll be getting ready for the top coat. Once it's dry, we're gonna do a top coat of white. And but while we're waiting for that to dry, here's the wheels, all primered. Inserts are in and primered, and we're gonna go ahead and get the gold touch to it. It's also gonna have knockoffs on it. On this particular car, it had blue knockoffs on the right side and red knockoffs on the left, designating the thread direction. So if I want to keep it as original as possible, I may just do that. We'll see. Let's get our paint stirred up. This is a Tamiya paint. Tamiya, tomato. I'm not sure how you guys say it, but this is a really good paint. I'm ready to go into my spray gun here, and I use an Iwata airbrush. It's called the Iwata Neo. We'll get ourselves a little paint in our dropper. Let's get it. Fill it up. Not fill it up. We're not going to need much for this little job, but and we'll wash that stuff off here shortly. Put our air cap on, and we've got gold paint. All I'm worried about is the outer edge and the rim itself. But we'll do each one. It's probably only going to take 2 coats. We'll see. It's kind of a deep dish look, so you got to make sure you get that rim and the inside edge also. So this is the finish I got using this Tamiya gold. This is on a spoon. Same primer I used on the wheels, put on the spoon, put the gold on, and I also put a high gloss clear on it. It's a very nice finish. Don't think I want to clear these rims. Maybe with a matte finish I might. I won't do the gloss. May even weather them a little bit, but we'll see. The car's getting a brand new paint job, so wheels are brand new paint jobs, and may not want to weather anything. Alright guys, let's get this top coat of white on here. Ooh, it's going on nice. And we'll do another coat after this baby sets up. Okay guys, let's get these knockoffs painted. As I told you earlier, the right side of the car were midnight blue, and the knockoffs on the left side of the car are red. It just tells them which side that knockoff goes on, because it's you have left and right handed thread. And the paint I'm using here again is a Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover. This is a satin, and this is a midnight blue. Spray right here into this little shot glass, the desired amount you want. So we have enough paint in there to do this, of course, so it doesn't take much. We're going to take that paint that we just had, and we're going to pour it in here. Don't forget your air cap. And you can see that. Look at that. Turn it down to about 10 pounds, because on this we don't need a whole lot blasting out. Never start your airbrush over your work, because it will throw out a little bit of splatter at times. I think it's just dark enough, and we'll get the other ones out and get some red paint, do the same thing. So we're going to do the red now. Now I had to clean my shot glass, and I use isopropyl alcohol, get it cleaned out. One quick tip though, don't ever use a paper towel to wipe out where you're going to be storing your paint or housing your paint. Paper towel leaves little hairs that you don't see, and if you leave them in the bottom of this jar or whatever you're using for your paint, it will then go into your gun and it will shoot out little hairs all over your work. So always use a lint-free cloth. And I don't mean a cotton, 100% cotton or anything like that, because those all have fibers too. But these little cloths I got them on Amazon. These are it's a fabric woven cloth, and it's they're lint-free, guaranteed lint-free. So you can go in, clean up your vessel, whatever you want to call it, and then you're ready to go. Taping begins. So I'm using a vinyl striping tape. Conforming around these headlights are going to be the most difficult part, but you just start a couple of tries. It's 1/8 inch tape and it doesn't really bend a lot, or yeah, you know, the radius, but it bends enough. I think once we get up around this part of the light, this stuff is really nice to work with, getting it to turn. But as you can see, we're starting the radius now. We'll come down over around the headlight and meet that other piece. And we got to put the little dot close enough to center, fellas. Close enough. All right, let's get a second coat. I'm trying to get back in those hidden areas first. Taking it light because I don't want a lot of overspray getting through anything. So take our time. Well, fellas, this is always the fun part. Let's peel off this vinyl tape a little bit back, see what we get. Ooh, that's a nice crisp line. There's a little bit of bleed, but you know what? All this we can touch up. That's crisp. That's the part I was really worried about. Another nice crisp. And lastly, where the number one's gonna go, this gotta come off. Okay, that turned out pretty good. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. All right, fellas, we're at the point now we're putting in some small details, what details we can put in on this car. And we got 2 lower tail lights and we got 2 upper tail lights. Got an engine compartment there in the lower portion of the cowling. It's just flat back in there, so I went ahead and put in this mesh screen. Basically just a regular screen door screening, if you can see that. That's what I used, cut it to fit, glued it in there. And I opted to start using vinyl for these final details, the racing stripes, tail lights, and any other details I'm going to put in, because racing stripes are just too fine of lines to paint. All right, fellas, we're back in the booth doing some final details. As you can see on the back, I went ahead and filled these 2 areas in. Those are the air duct from the front. It flows out the back and exits out that area. Of course, it's all solid. I just have to kind of put something in there to make it look good. Stripes are on. Numbers are next. The vinyl went on really nice. I'm really happy with it. And at my age, it's the way to go for me, because my eyesight is not what it used to be, and this worked out good for me. We've got the numbers on. There were 4 number ones. You get 1 on each
rear quarter. You have the one that's slanted diagonal on the rear cowling. There's the other side. You got the one up front. I got one little piece, one little thing to touch up on the front fender, and then we're going to be ready for clear coat. Here's the vinyl sheets that they came from. I had to resize them. That's why you see a couple different sizes come out of this. If I didn't mention it, these are all done on a Cricut machine that my wife has, and it's really awesome, man. I mean, I'm not a good water slide decal maker, and I couldn't find all these decals, or if I could have, it would have spent more money. So we did this on a budget, and we're getting close. And then we're going to get this thing on the big track, and we're going to run it with some other GT40s and some Mustangs of its era. I had almost forgot to put the small stripes down the center of the rear pan. Cut these out of this piece, which the other racing stripes were on. This is my wife's Cricut machine, and you know, I've never used this before. I'll tell you what, the projects are just, there's so many things you can do with it. Anyway, this should print right over here in this area, these 3 small stripes, very small stripes. So let's load it. It's a pretty slick machine. A lot of you guys may have them, or your wives may have them, but I'll tell you what, it sure came in handy. Now we can go ahead and hit start. There it goes, printed right there where I plotted it. This is pretty cool, man. Unload it. You can see where the new one's printed. They're right there. Maybe you can see them. Anyway, those go on the rear pan, and that's what we're going to put up next. Alright, we went ahead and got the center racing stripe here on. The ones I just printed. Those are on, and then one other thing I forgot. That's just me, man, you know. Nothing planned, but we've got to come over here and cut a piece of this center stripe out for the word Ford on each side. So that's going to be a challenge, but nice sharp blade. We should get away with it. And we'll be back. That's the last detail before clear coat. We got our letters in. Both sides, we got the word Ford. Now that's it. I don't have anything else to do to this. We're ready for clear coat. First coat's going on right now. Last coat of clear, and we're done with this thing. Using testers, high gloss finish. Oh shit, I don't have a glove on. Oh well, we're gonna get some clear on my arm, I guess. Yep, I'm nice and shiny now. Next step is gonna be mounting the body back to the car. Alright, so after putting that last coat of gloss coat on the car, I wasn't happy with it. The gloss was just such a high gloss. It was just too much to deal with. It was just too much reflection in this paint job. So what I opted to do was cut it all down after letting it sit up for a couple of days. I wet sanded it, cut it down, and we put on a satin finish, and I am so much happier with this. Let me give you a little bit of what it looks like. Try to get as close as I can. This is what we ended up with. It still has a little bit of shine to it, but more of a race car shine, in my opinion. But anyway, next thing we're going to do, we're going to mount this body to the chassis with the rubber mounts, and I don't know. Doesn't look too bad, guys. I'm happy with it, and we're going to go with that.
Ted, 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 Ted. Ted, 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 Ted. 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 Ted, 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 T-E-D, T-E-D, Ted, 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 T-E-D, T-E-D, Ted, 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 Ted.